Undrafted of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanger. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome in everyone to the Undrafted Uncensored episode number 108, and I just felt like saying that because it just sounds like a good number. Nice 108, not quite. It's still on the radio dial, but it's not quite at the end. I mean, it's pretty much at the end, but I don't know. It's just I wanted to say 108.
Well, you said 108, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I was getting a little technical. Okay, leave me alone.
I think I'm the one getting technical here. Let's be honest. If there's anyone who cares about the details, it's this guy.
Oh yeah, always with the minute little details they're calling.
Yeah, minute details like start time.
Yeah, I mean, who needs to start on time? I mean, what is time?
To be
time
fair,
is relevant.
To be fair, we would be early if it was my start time that I thought.
Yes, well, I mean, in Colin's mind, we're early. In my mind, I'm rushing through a crap ton of stuff.
That is all right.
And I'm just here.
And then, as usual, Joe is filling in the void. Oh, speaking of filling the void, gentlemen, it has been a very weird NBA offseason so far. A lot of people moving, a lot of parts going away. LeBron is obviously still holding the Lakers hostage for another 2 years, which made me laugh because they're still not going to win. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I mean, they're not going to win. What was something that caught your eye that really made you go, huh?
Joe, I mean,
Joe?
You go.
Well, you're our NBA guy.
There was the fact that the Nuggets didn't fucking do shit. That caught my eye pretty immediately. Like, obviously DeAndre Jordan is something, but it's a piece that I don't know, at best you probably didn't need to do right now. And now that free agency's been going for a few days and there's just been nothing else, like not even the re-signing of Vlatko Čančar, like, which doesn't necessarily move the needle for me. He's one of my favorite players, but in terms of the Nuggets actually getting better, like it's been rough. It's almost like, and I heard somebody else say this, so of course it was my idea. It sounds like fucking Moneyball to an extent. Like the GM doing everything he can to make sure the coach has to play the lineup the way he wants it. Like, you know what? If you're not going to play Peyton Watson and Christian Brown in the playoffs, well then fuck it. You don't have anybody else. All you have is a bunch of young guys for this bench because he didn't sign anybody and he's not going to play DeAndre Jordan. So I feel like there might be a little bit of that going on. I feel like there's I could use that thing at best, a disconnect between the front office and the coaching staff. And it seems like Jokic is even trying to get involved with a little bit of recruiting stuff, which is kind of cool. But it almost feels like he's doing it because he thinks it's necessary, not because he all of a sudden has some great idea that we need to go and get Russell Westbrook.
Well, Joe, you actually said it right there. My biggest surprise of this, offseason, it's not necessarily the moves that have been made, KCP getting his money, Orlando spending a lot of money makes sense. They're a team that is on the rise. They got some good players there. Those things weren't really surprising because they made moves that they should make. But for me, obviously, I'm hyper-focused on the Nuggets. And with all those other moves, with everything else that happened around the NBA, I'm surprised that Nikola Jokic has been recruiting one Russell Westbrook. Right? That's what really surprised me because I don't see how Westbrook fits into this team. I don't see how his attitude fits into this squad and his style of play. But at the same time, as I say, I don't see how that fits. I look back, and when I sit there, I'm like, we talked about this team needing to get tougher. Mm-hmm. And Russell Westbrook is one thing now. He is tough. He might be cheap also, but he's definitely tough. And him coming, if he comes through and is coming off of the bench,
Yep.
that does add a level of grittiness, toughness to the team. I know we made fun of one Bones Highland leaving Denver to go learn behind Russell Westbrook how to be even more of a punk, but I feel like Russell Westbrook coming here would bring some of that attitude, especially off of the bench, where guys would be afraid to drive the lane or, try and they wouldn't get out physical, I guess, is more of what I'm saying. The second unit wouldn't get out physical like they had been, especially against Minnesota. Now, I don't know what his minutes would look like, but we also sit here without Jamal Murray being signed. And I know tomorrow is the official day where contracts can be signed. So everybody don't freak out just because Jamal Murray hasn't signed yet. It's just because he hasn't verbally said anything. That's what scares me, is that there's been no talks. When we heard about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, those things came up right away. Like, it was like, oh, these guys are going to sign their max extensions. Okay, cool. But Jamal Murray has been silent on both sides. So I do worry if the Nuggets go into the season and for some reason Jamal Murray isn't signed and it is Russell Westbrook, that's not a situation that I like. I don't like Russell Westbrook sitting out there all the time because he can also be a Carmelo Anthony type black hole when he gets the ball in his hands. So I don't want him to be the only guy, only point guard, but I do like the idea of the toughness coming from the bench. It is just surprising that it's Jokic as the one who is leading the charge, supposedly, for one Russell Westbrook.
Well, what I like about it, though, is it's your captain who knows the pulse of the team. And if he thinks that Westbrook can come in here and fit in and abide by the rules and fit in with Malone, there's got to be something to that, because this isn't just LeBron recruiting his friends to play with him. This is a man that's basketball's kind of this is his paycheck, is all it really is. He rides horses. I race horses. You want to be on parade. And you want to ride horses. That's it. And if he can get Westbrook to come in here and help him make a little bit more money and buy 4 more horses, because I'm assuming that's what he's spending his money on. This time it'll be the Apocalypse, and we'll name them accordingly.
I named him after X-Men 4 Horsemen Apocalypse. This one, Angel. This one, Olivia Munn.
Okay. And it went off. But, I mean, if he senses something there, should we be afraid?
Well, I've been afraid of this Jamal Murray thing for a minute.
I've been afraid.
Like we talked about it. We talked about how he's not healthy, how the Nuggets. I mean, I know I've said it so many times. They have to play. They caught lightning in a bottle. Everyone was healthy. You got Christian Braun, a rookie who shows up out of almost nowhere, really, and plays a very important role on a championship team. In those playoffs, I mean, we laughed. DeAndre Jordan had his 8 minutes of fame there again. But yeah, the Nuggets caught lightning in a bottle with MPJ, and Jamal Murray both being healthy throughout the whole playoff run. Aaron Gordon doesn't really. I should knock on wood. And by the way, sorry, Michael, my bad. I thought it was 4:30. I promise. If you watched the intro, I screwed up. It's all right. Whatever. Thanks for putting it out on socials for us.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. But I was worried about. I've been worried about these guys' health, and Aaron Gordon has been pretty healthy throughout his career. Some dings here. He's a big man. That'll happen. But you worry about MPJ. You worry about Jamal Murray. And then you also worry when I bring up the contract stuff. What is going on with this contract that we're not hearing anything? Usually we'd hear something like the two sides are working on a deal. One side isn't a fan of it. They want more. They want less. They want something different. I'm sitting here wondering if there's something in this contract that is talking about Jamal Murray's conditioning, because what have we heard besides last year's championship run, or I guess 2 years ago now, their championship run? We heard 3 years ago, Jamal Murray coming off the ACL should be able to play in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't. And then we heard this past year, Calvin Booth coming out and saying, well, Jamal needs to get a little bit better early on in the season. is there something in there in his contract that that Jamal doesn't like and he doesn't want coming out, a la Kyler Murray, excuse me,
Kyle
and
Murray.
his gaming Call of Duty games.
Well,
Also, by the way, Joe, Calvin Booth is in Europe watching
Yep.
Vlatko right now. So just so you know where he is.
Oh yeah, that's what he's been up to. He's been, which is like that. I was about to bring that up. Like that's a huge, like, oversight. Like the beginning of free agency, you just leave to go watch a guy who's not playing with Team Slovenia right now and still rehabbing his ACL when you could be in Denver, like signing people like that. Kind of bothers me a little bit, but it also kind of shows what's going on. I think that's part of the reason why the talks with Jamal haven't been super quick, because he's not here to have them. So is there an assistant GM having these talks and cat people having these kind of talks? I'm not sure, but it seems like there's something weird going on with it. Maybe Jamal feels slighted. Maybe there is some language in there, like you say, about staying healthy or conditioning or whatever. I could absolutely see that. But
well, and you have to remember too that I'm sure part of this might be too that Jamal wants to get paid like a max, but he doesn't have the credibility to make it a max because he hasn't been an all-star, he hasn't been this, he hasn't been that, and you know, in order to, Jesus Christ, Colin, that's 3. That's it. You're done.
Nope, that's Amor and Dinero.
Out of here.
Excuse me, sorry.
I
think he's that was a cough, by the way. That was a cough.
Mine was a cough too.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to be part of the group and sound cool.
I'm thinking they want to try and get him paid like a max, but they can't because he can't attain those tiers that they need to make him a max player.
I mean, he's been a max player for years. On a max contract, so I feel like they're going to pay him the max money. It's just that's going to end up kicking the decision down the road then to or if you extend Aaron Gordon, it puts you potentially in the second apron. So it's going to, you have to have that conversation of Aaron Gordon versus Michael Porter Jr. versus trading Jamal Murray. Maybe Jamal can't stay healthy and you can't rely on him, and it's like it's kind of the tragedy of like Shaq and Penny Hardaway. We never got to see a ton of it because he went and had Shaq and Kobe. You know, hopefully Jamal is the Kobe and not the Penny Hardaway, but you never know. Something can happen. You know, you might have to get rid of him. I don't know, but yeah, it's
Simon and Garfunkel, Hall and Oates.
Yeah, Garfunkel and Oates are my favorite. Music groups.
Well, when you sit here and look at that though, and you're talking about the second apron, yeah, you have to extend Aaron Gordon most likely. We'll see what this draft pick, how he turns out, if he is a replacement for Aaron Gordon. We obviously won't know much through most of this upcoming season about that because Malone in the first half isn't going to play him. I mean, we shouldn't assume on seeing this kid for more than 2 to 5 minutes every week, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll be a replacement. Yeah, and I think he'll be a nice piece on the bench. But
if the Nuggets are going into the apron, and we talk about the lack of movement on the Nuggets part, I would much rather them go into that second one with Aaron Gordon rather than KCP. I love KCP. I loved what he did, but I also think that Christian Brown was going to work his tail off to try and be a better 3-point shooter. He's already a plus defender. So I don't think he'll get to KCP's level, at least not yet. But also KCP was 32, 33 right now. So Christian has some time. The only thing that sucks is that the time is now for the Nuggets to win. You talk about Jokic and racing horses. Who knows when he's like, all right, I've
31.
had enough. Okay. He'll be 32 this season then, I think.
Sounds right.
So Jokic could just say, all right, that's it. I'm done. I'm good, guys. I played out my contract. He seems like the type of guy who would play out a contract and be like, all right, that's it for me. I'm going back home. I'm going to play on Team Serbia every 2 years. And, well, I'll see you guys when I see you.
The old Jim Carrey. See you later.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you can't put that past him either. Crap, I had a question. I looked up KCP and I forgot what it was now.
Well, I will say too, I'm not putting it past.
Oh,
I do have faith in this ownership staff and management staff because of who they have brought in, the guys they have brought in, and how they have developed players. Because we got to remember, this is a homegrown team right now, besides Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, well, and I remember now. I mean, like you were talking about, Colin, with Christian Brown, he had to have seen the writing on the wall coming that KCP was going to be gone. So he knew he, like you said, he knew he had to start stepping up his game, and now he's that guy. He's in the rotation now. You're one of the top 5, so it's time to put up or shut up. And we all know Malone's not going to mess around, especially when they're chasing another championship. That leash is probably going to be pretty short on Christian right now, and he's going to have a lot to prove. But I think he can do it. I think he's had enough time in the league now that he can step his game up and be a legitimate starter.
Yeah, I hope so, man. And if he can just get down the confidence to keep, like, honestly, that could be a good thing of Russell Westbrook coming here. So you can teach Christian Brown to keep taking shots even when you constantly fucking miss every single shot. But I think, yeah, he's I think we talked about this in a pod or two ago, how him and Jokic had one of the top duo on the team of, I think it was plus or minus or something like that. He wasn't scoring a ton, but the team was around him. So that's a helpful thing to have if you end up having to kind of clamp down on fools and not shoot as many threes as you did in your championship year, because the Nuggets shot some of the lowest percentage of threes of the entire NBA last year, and you just lost one of your best three-point shooters. So that's going to make it more difficult. And that's where Russell Westbrook doesn't fit in. But sorry, I wanted to mention earlier, you were talking about the fit with Russ. He definitely does fit because he's a good passer and playmaker alongside of Jokic while Jamal Murray is out. That'll be a nice little, having multiple guys that can move the ball, extra little movement. And he's a really good inside scorer. He can cut, slash, dunk. So he's a guy that Jokic can throw lobs to, can get open and score, kind of like a smaller Aaron Gordon, and also get some rebounds. So those things all sound great. Just don't give him the ball at the top of the key and you'll be fine.
Well, and it helps too because it'll take minutes off of Jamal having to run that offense on that second unit too.
Yeah.
So now you can have him take a couple extra minutes on the bench to relax, recover, get back out there. I'm not saying you take him completely out of the second unit, but you have a little more time to work with him now and give him time to recover because he was playing a lot of minutes and he was really running that second unit. Not that he can't do it. No, yeah. But if you can have Clay come in, then obviously that's gonna
Westbrook.
Westbrook. Sorry,
man. If you can get Klay Thompson coming off the bench at point guard,
sorry, no, he was. I had the news story in my head still from when he was all over Denver.
Oh yeah, and that was a sad one. That one and the Paul George one, like more so Paul George. Like the idea of possibly having Paul George instead of Michael Porter Jr., like that means now your defense of having Christian Brown is an asset. You still need to have maybe some more shooting, but like that helps a lot. The problem is the lack of first round picks going forward, but they're taking a lot of late round guys anyway. I don't know how much he would have loved it. It kind of felt like he was just using the Nuggets for leverage. Similarly with we know Klay Thompson was doing that. He wasn't going to come here. I don't think that fit was great.
Anyway. I think that was only Denver media stirring it up.
They were just stirring
everything else that came up, Denver not mentioned at all. And the Klay Thompson.
And I didn't mean to mention it either.
Okay.
He was in my head because I had seen his name when I was scrolling through, and Klay got stuck in my head, and I meant Russ. Yeah.
See, I don't want to say I've never been a fan of Paul George, but I guess I really just never have been a fan of Paul George. So him coming here, that didn't move the needle for me either way. Playoffs after he plays another 50 games next season.
Yeah.
And then might show up for the playoffs or get injured again or not. He did play all 7 in round 1 this year. But I'd like to see if they had to play an 8th if he would have lasted through that one. I'm just not. That that did nothing for me. They brought him in. I would have been like, all right, well, let's see. But it wouldn't have gotten me excited. It would have been like,
No.
well,
I would have been
let's
excited. The
figure
fit,
out.
just having one of the best perimeter defenders almost ever. Like, definitely one of the best in the NBA. Obviously, he's old, so like you say, that's the issue, is that you risk that he might get hurt, but also being the third option as opposed to being, the 1A, 1B, so the 1B with the Clippers, and being able to just knock down some shots every now and again and just lock people up and play defense. I like that just from a basketball standpoint. That just sounds awesome to be able to have one of those guys that can slot in, maybe at the 2 spot, maybe you bring in a forward, or start Peyton Watson instead of Christian Brown, or play him at the forward spot and start Christian Brown at the 2, because that you have kind of versatility in that sense. But he makes more money and is older, so that'd be one of those like, all right, we're doing this shit right now. The mid-level exception is going to be Dario Saric, and we fucking roll. But which might actually happen anyway. But I think it would have been fun. But yeah, he definitely has a higher injury risk than Michael Porter Jr., who has a injury risk. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously there's still some time for some of this stuff to play out. So we'll just have to keep our eyes and ears open and wait for the big decision to come. Olympics are coming up here in a couple weeks anyway, so that should make it a little more interesting and a little more fun. Colin, you have a big.
Can I do this transition? Can I do this?
Oh my God! Yeah, go for it.
Speaking of injuries, we have 11 days until we wait to see if Tim Patrick can stay healthy.
Not quite where I was going to go with it, but it'll work.
As long as it gets 1 day further, that's progress.
Let's start with Tim Patrick. Go ahead, Colin. You obviously read the article already, and
Tim Patrick is. We all know that he is a. I mean, he has great hands. He has some of the best hands, but he hasn't caught football or played football in 2 years. We don't know how he's going to recover. We saw what happened to Javonte Williams last year, that he was slow. He wasn't the same guy. And that was after taking a season off. Granted, running back and wide receiver are different, but also a wide receiver, you have to rely on cutting. And so your cutting, your speed, your agility, open field tackles, guys coming across the middle. I worry about Tim Patrick, but I also sit here and say, if it was Tim Patrick and then we're looking at Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin, Cortland Sutton is gone. Okay. Like I'd be okay with that this year, because I think one thing that Tim Patrick does do for Bo Nix and this rookie quarterback, who will be starting eventually, is give him a security blanket. And that's something that Sutton, with all the amazing catches he makes, you just don't. You're kind of praying that he catches it when it's thrown his way.
Yeah.
You get to that point where you're like, man, why is he dropping that? And so.
Yeah, like you want it to be a stupid, ridiculous, acrobatic catch that is actually really difficult to make, because the easy ones he'll drop.
Yeah, and that's what kills confidence in especially a rookie quarterback. And so if you have Sutton just demanding the ball, looking to get paid, that's going to be an issue. But I would love to see Tim Patrick out there, because I think he is one of those just professional wide receivers that will go about his business, do his job. Rod Smith-like in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Just go about his business, make the catches, do the work, and kind of shut up. He shuts up and puts up numbers. So that's where I sit here and hope, and I hope the rehab goes well. And I do hope he doesn't get injured again. But if he does, I mean, that's it. This is the third year of that extension that he signed. Like, this is it. We have literally seen nothing from Tim Patrick from this whole extension. The 25 million he got, whatever it was, 33.
Yeah. I think he restructured it this year actually, and took a bit of a pay cut to stick around, because the Broncos were just going to have to release him if he stuck with that same number.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I think I remember.
But yeah, it's really sad that it happened, because he's one of those guys. He's one of my favorite players on the team, and it hurts my heart. We were all there when he got carted off the practice field last year. We were sitting there baking in the sun. It was awesome. If you didn't come out of there red, then you weren't doing it right.
I didn't come out of there red. I'm brown, dude.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm very brown. But I I just don't know if he'll stay healthy through the season, and that's what I would hope for. Ideal. I mean, I hate this. Is going to sound really terrible. If you're going to get hurt in week like 8. Give Bo Nix a little bit of time. Let the other guys, learn from you a few things, and then go ahead and miss the rest of the season and go off into the sunset. Because I'll lead into your next point. This team isn't going anywhere this year. They're still void of talent in many areas, and it's going to still take some time. So, Tim, I hope you stay healthy for the whole season, but if you're going to get hurt, let the guys at least watch you play and prepare for a few weeks, all right?
Just give us a couple weeks.
So, all right, that was a perfect transition. I don't know which one I want to use, though. Let's go to the first one. So, that being said, obviously, there's no expectation that Bo Nix is going to start right away. He clearly has to earn it. Are we overlooking Zach Wilson right now because of recency bias? Because you look at the stats that Drew Brees put up his first 3 seasons with the Chargers, they're almost the same. And then Drew Brees ends up with Sean Payton, goes to New Orleans, and that's when he starts slowly turning it around. It took, I think, another 4 seasons before they won the Super Bowl. But there's that adjustment and the growth, and Zach Wilson was in was in New York for 3 seasons. Drew Brees was in San Diego for 3 seasons. Now they have this new coach in their 4th season trying to turn him around. Other than the one, Drew Brees did have 1 year where he was voted for Offensive Player of the Year, but he finished 5th. I guess no. It was 4 seasons. I'm sorry, he had 1 game in 2001.
The hotel. I don't know. I feel like that's more telling for Zach Wilson. Like, at best, he put up early 2000s numbers, similar to a guy who had LaDainian Tomlinson. So he was just running the ball all the time. And I still feel like Zach Wilson's numbers have to be worse than Drew Brees. That's crazy that it's, to me, just like without having looked at it at all, like that they would be similar. Like, that's kind of nuts. That maybe he is better than we thought, but I don't know. I feel like it's one of those that would be cool. It'd be a sweet story. I think Sean Payton would love to be that guy that made Zach Wilson work. But at the end of the day, I don't think that he ends up getting that job. But it's, shit happens. You could see him start or finish a game this year or something, and maybe, I don't know, pull something off. Could end up being like a Gardner Minshew type, not necessarily like fan favorite, but just that comes in later on, does some stuff, maybe as a trade piece, because I'm not sure if he's under contract for multiple years or if it's, like they traded him from his rookie contract, so they might, I don't know. But I don't think that he's going to really be. I would put more stock in Jarrett Stidham starting more games than Zach Wilson.
So you can understand where I'm coming from real quick. I'll give you the numbers.
Yeah.
566 completions on 993 attempts. These are Zach's numbers first.
Okay.
2.3 touchdown percentage, 2.5 interception percentage, success percentage of 37%, and then obviously 34 and 33 in his career.
Okay.
With San Diego, Drew Brees was 59 and 58, 62% complete percentage. And I don't remember if I told you Zach was 57%.
Yeah.
4.4 touchdown percentage, 2.9 interception percentage, successful at 44%, and again 59 and 58. So I mean they're kind of similar number wise, but Brees, like you said, he had LT too.
Yeah, a different style of play too. But yeah, that is kind of surprising.
Colin,
I mean, yeah, of course you can be overlooking him. I think that what the Broncos were and still are possibly hoping is that he might show something and throw him in a trade. I think that Sean Payton had his eye on a quarterback all along, and unless 12 or 6 quarterbacks were drafted before pick 11, at 12 the Broncos were going to take someone. happened to be Bo Nix, his guy, whatever we want to say with that. And yeah, maybe Zach can revive his career in a way here. I just don't want to say that. I don't want to say that he's going to have these opportunities in Denver, because if you're going to give a young guy a chance, because remember, Zach Wilson is still pretty damn young.
Yeah.
You're going to give those opportunities to Bo Nix. And so those opportunities are going to then come via injury, which we saw what he did last year in place of an Aaron Rodgers. And, oh, man.
Not much.
Man, I'm forgetting the other who else they had there.
Oh,
they had Mike White the year before too.
Italian
No.
Nate
Danucci was
Sudfeld?
was sorry,
Giant.
Danucci's the other side.
Yeah, they brought in Nate Sudfeld, I think, to start a game. Or no, it was who was the guy that they started?
Because
Sudfeld.
it wasn't Simeon.
Tim
Simeon
Boyle.
was there.
It was Tim Boyle.
Yeah, Tim Boyle.
That was the guy they brought in to start a game over everyone's favorite former Bronco, Trevor Simeon.
Trevor Simeon, Tim Boyle, Tom Morstead, Aaron Rodgers, and Garrett Wilson, along with
Zach Wilson.
quarterback room for the New York Jets last year.
Zach Wilson, not Garrett. He's a wide receiver.
Yeah, and Russell was
Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson had a couple passes.
Pass attempts. Okay, yeah.
Pass, yeah.
Sorry.
I just started going down, and I got excited to go down.
I end around. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's like he's not a starter. But yeah, so
Yeah.
can I see what you're saying and where you're going? Yeah, is it a better option to have Zach Wilson as your backup than it is to have
Jarrett Stidham?
Stidham, maybe. But the end of the day, when you're looking at it, if Zach Wilson does a good job, he's getting a contract somewhere else. So you're going to lose him. You're a lot more likely to lose him than lose a guy like Stidham. And if you want your backup to stay with this team, know the system, be competent, it's one of those consistency things. You call it Bubby Brister to Elway. Fitzpatrick.
Kubiak to Elway.
Kubiak to Elway. I mean, but when Bubby came in, the Broncos had a chance to continue on that run until they decided to go with Greasy,
Yeah,
so
they should have started Bubby in 99, I think.
Yeah. So when you have a competent backup, it really does help your team, especially with a young quarterback. You look at what happened when Joe Burrow got hurt in Cleveland. Not so good.
Were they in Cleveland when it happened?
Or Cincinnati. They might have actually been playing Cleveland, the Browns,
it's
when
one of those
got
days.
his first injury.
Hilarious.
If you don't have a competent backup, especially with a young quarterback who you don't know his durability, it's going to be an issue. And I think that's where you want the journeyman quarterback to really. If your quarterback doesn't have an ego, this young quarterback, and he will actually take to learning from the veteran quarterback, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
If you're a young quarterback who, much like Zach Wilson, I think had way too big of an ego, doesn't care what anyone else thinks, won't learn anything from another guy, just saying, hey, yeah, you're a journeyman, I'm not going to be like you. I'm not going to learn anything. Yeah, it all depends on how Bo Nix approaches this.
Okay. Makes sense. I like it.
And also look to see if Zach Wilson gets moved before the season starts. If he looks good in preseason, that's going to be their chance to kind of showcase him. I don't think he would go as far as to start him first couple of weeks just to get teams to see if he's good and then get some stuff for him. But I could see them trying to do that in preseason, give him some more reps and try to move him out for more than, what do they give up, a 6th round pick? It still feels like too much.
Yeah. It is what it is. Well, I mean, those guys obviously won't be all-stars, Pro Bowlers, anything like that. But the MLB All-Star Game is coming up here in a couple weeks. And the starters were announced for both leagues. Obviously, there are 0 Colorado Rockies starting for the National League. Adley Rutschman will be the catcher for the American League. So we'll start with the AL, Vlad Guerrero Jr. at first. Jose Altuve surprisingly sneaks in there at second base.
The traffic cone?
Yep. Gunnar Henderson is short, so the O's are starting to obviously increase their power. Jose Ramirez always quiet over there at third base, but that dude's got some power, and I think he's underrated. Yordan Alvarez will be the designated hitter, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Steven Kwan will be the outfielders for the American League. So there's your
let's get to the National League.
There's your massive batting order right there.
Yeah.
In the National League, William Contreras of the Brewers will be catching. Bryce Harper is playing first base. That's his first selection at first base. Ketel Marte of the Diamondbacks will be at second. He's kind of quieted down a little bit lately. Trey Turner for the Phillies will be at short. Third base is Alex Bohm, so you have nearly an entire Phillies infield. Shohei Ohtani obviously is the DH. Yeah, we all knew that was coming. Christian Yelich of the Brewers will be in the outfield along with Jerkson Profar, who's I can't stand still. And Fernando Tatis Jr. will get his second selection and be there. Why are you applauding Mr. Irrelevant?
Oh, the jerk did it. The jerk did it again.
He's still a douche.
The Rockies, man, I can't tell you what great moves you guys have been making. Whew. Letting Jerkson Profar go. Oh, man. Great choice.
He didn't need to be here anyway. He was a fucking cancer.
I mean, the Rockies front office has done a great job of making sure to have at least one All-Star every year.
I wanted him gone.
Yeah, they've had an All-Star every year.
I wasn't doing anything with the Rockies anyway.
I like Profar as a player.
Can't stand Profar.
Oh, sure. That's because you didn't sign with your
I didn't want him in the Bronx.
By the way, when's the last time the Yankees won a series, Nick? Oh, that quieted you down.
Wow, really? Wow, that quick, huh? Well, it'll be this weekend when they sweep the Red Sox. Thank you very much.
Oh, are you sure about that?
You're welcome.
I don't know. Well, I sit here and we talked about the Rockies not doing anything and bringing in guys who will contribute and be part of a club. And now you have
Profar didn't even want to be here.
Well, I'm sure he did. Who does?
Because he had no choice. They were the only ones giving him a contract. Nobody else in the MLB really wanted him.
Yeah, so then you take him and you help to help him to improve, get better. And guess what he's done now that he's left Colorado? He got the advice, he got the training, he got the coaching that he needed, and now he's an all-star starter.
He saw how bad it could be, and he realized, man, I don't want to fucking come back here.
I don't need to go back there at all. And how many times is this going to happen for the Rockies that they have a guy who's talented, they don't see it, they can't cultivate it, they can't take advantage and see the possibilities in these players? It's a fine line between giving up on guys too quickly and holding on too long. And the Rockies do both to extremes on the wrong guys every single time, it feels like.
He was hitting 236 last year when they released him.
Okay. So what? So then
8 home runs. He had a power outage in Denver. How do you have a power outage in Denver of all places?
Exactly. And then you go to San Diego and you learn how to hit bombs.
He was in San Diego before he came to Denver.
I know. So what happened? Between
he got in his own head is what happened.
And the Rockies did a terrible job of having him get out of it. These are just more examples of why it's incompetence on Rockies' ownership part. This is an all-star starter, and yeah, I know he didn't do great here. I know that. I'm not oblivious to the fact that he wasn't playing good. But why can't this management, coaching staff, ownership develop these guys or help them get out and get the best out of their players? That's what I'm trying to get.
So what about Jake Cave?
I love Jake Cave, but we talked about it last week. Where's he at on the totem pole of like good, great, amazing, average? Like, where do you want to put him?
I would say good. He's a good ball. He's serviceable. He gets out there. He does his job, and I mean, he's doing enough right now to be kind of a leader and maybe find that spot because as we found out, he's a little bit younger than we thought he was.
Yeah,
and maybe he's taking the steps in the right direction. He's starting to lead this team.
So, are they going to take him from being good to being great?
I don't think great's in Jake Cave's future. It's not being with the Rockies. It's not being with the Rockies.
Do you think it was in Jerkson Profar's future?
He had flashes. He could have been great. Yeah. He was great in San Diego before he got hurt.
Okay.
And he was an all-star. He was an all-star caliber player.
Did the Rockies take Cave and make him from a below-average player to a good player?
I think they can.
I don't know. I think it'll just become stagnant, man.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, just having watched Profar play with the A's and the Padres, you know, you go from one bad team to a good team, back to a bad team, back to a good team. I mean, how long is this? Is this a flash in the pan? Is basically where I'm at with this right now, because he's been starting fights. He called himself Mr. Irrelevant, and you know what? I'm glad you got drilled. I'd do it every time too if I was catching, but that's just me.
It's fine. I'd like your opinions on Rocky's coaching and leaving Elias Diaz in the game.
Oh, I tweeted about that the day of the game. Yeah, why are we doing that? What are we doing? He's your leader right now. What are we doing? You're gonna get him hurt even more. Get somebody out there. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you go left on left at that point, because your bench is that weak. Get him out of there.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a great time to try and develop someone else in a catching situation when you're getting blown out?
Well, part of the problem too is I think Hunter Goodman was playing right field that day. There's another freaking catcher that's being wasted right now because we're trying to make him into a super utility guy. No, let him learn a position.
So what you're saying is,
you know what's funny too is Hunter Goodman was actually the reason the Rockies got rid of Profar.
I was gonna say the Rockies could have used another outfielder. You're saying, oh, what does Profar play?
Negative 10 defensive run save too. Negative 10 DRS. I'll take that any day.
I'll take that with the pop in the bat. I've told you I'd trade the defense for the home runs and everything.
They need to go back to the Blake Street Bombers.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what they need. They need to realize you got to get rid of the brightest barriers and go back to the Blake Street Bombers. You're gonna get pitchers in here, and you're gonna have to do it young, and you have to tell them your ERA is not gonna be Randy Johnson. You are not gonna be Nolan Ryan here, but you let this offense crush, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, Joe. If there was a home run hit every inning in baseball, would that make it more entertaining?
Maybe. I mean, it's the problem with baseball for me is that I don't have a team to root for.
You can pick a team, right?
Until the Rockies actually, yeah, but I don't want to just pick some random group of assholes. I grew up going to Rockies games as a little kid. I had a lot of the lineup guys memorized because names are something I'm good at remembering, and it was a lot of fun to go play in the little playground, especially around the seventh inning. But I never actually watched a ton. But the nuance and strategy of every game always makes it entertaining for me. So I'm cool with it either way. I just don't get excited because at the end of the day, I know the team that is in my town is not putting forth a product, whether it's effort or competence, or I think it's kind of both. So that's really what it is for me, is I want to enjoy, I want to follow it. I get into sports through certain teams, certain players, usually through my hometown teams. The Nuggets getting good is what got me into basketball. I've always enjoyed hockey, but I also can't watch it for free. Thanks, Stream East. So harder to get into, but yeah, baseball, man. I enjoy the idea of baseball. I just don't actually enjoy it. I like baseball movies.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Do you want to watch? Do you want to watch the LA Clippers Lob City, or do you want to watch the San Antonio Spurs or the Utah Jazz pick and roll? What do you want to watch when you're watching basketball, Joe?
I mean, the Lob City Clippers were kind of awesome. That's
so
fun.
When
that's
you're
a
watching,
team I've tried to recreate in 2K multiple times.
So when you're watching baseball, what do you want to see? Home runs, excitement, energy. A 0-0 game or a 3-0 game or a 5-4 game isn't that much energy and excitement. Give me back 13-10 every single day where I'm seeing dongs hit freaking out of the park into the parking lot, busting players' car windows. Give me the Toyota Tundra on top of the left field fence getting smashed to bits because guys are hitting fucking swamp donkeys all over the place. And you are busting up the scoreboard, which is way too big which is way too big, and it should be the biggest target in all of the Midwest to hit with a baseball. Hit that damn scoreboard, break some LEDs, bring back the hits, bring back the offense. Don't try and stifle your offense by putting a barrier out there. Make this game fun, make it entertaining, play to what your strengths are. And you know what? You know, here in Colorado, your pitchers are not going to be great. So, yeah, you're going to go through them. All right. And this goes back to the Angels. Draft all the pitchers you can. And you know what? Okay, this guy is giving up 5 runs in an inning. Who cares? At least you know your offense can match that. Right now, you don't know if your offense can match any of those things. Yeah, the bullpen sucks. You need a guy in the bullpen who can come in, kind of like Houston Street, but really you need an Adam Ottavino.
Yeah.
Who will get those ground balls. I mean, and we're opening up that can of worms again. But you shouldn't worry about your starting pitching in nearly as much as your bullpen in Colorado, because you need those guys in the bullpen to hold 1-2 innings. You just need to get there with the lead. That's all you want. And that's why I mentioned Lob City,
Matchstick Bridge,
or the Utah Jazz, or the San Antonio Spurs. It's way more fun to watch Lob City. I mean, those Clippers, they were never going to win anything. We all knew it. It was fun to watch the San Antonio Spurs, the D'Antoni runners, or whatever they were called, when they were running up and down the court, putting up 140 points a night. Those were fun games.
I was thinking of the Greg Popovich, like boring as fuck, but winning.
Well,
Spurs.
that's
Sorry.
what I was. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying with the Spurs and the Utah Jazz. Like, those teams were winning. The Phoenix Suns were winning, running up and down the court. The Clippers were winning, going up and down the court and, doing alley-oops. And that's why I relate it back to, Jesus, I'm knocking crap over. That's why I relate it back to baseball and the Rockies. You want to make this about the game. You want people to watch your games. Have them never know how many damn runs you're going to put up on the board, and make it an unbelievable experience, because you are seeing, 4 or 5 home runs in a game. We say no lead is ever 4 or 5 home runs in the game. You never know a lead is safe in Denver.
Yep.
The only reason you don't know a lead is safe in Denver is because the Rockies are still playing here, not because you're afraid of their bats.
The only reason you think the lead's not safe is because the Rockies have the lead.
You've been given a gift. Exploit it.
Exactly.
Just take advantage of the opportunity. You get some masters in here, and bring back Matt Stairs. I only swing to hit home runs. I love that guy, and he every time he got in the box, he swung as hard as he could because he was just going to hit a home run. He didn't care. I love it.
Well, and Major League Baseball has also changed the rules so that these hitters have more leeway than ever. You've taken away the shift. You've taken away these things that defensively these other teams can't do. So why don't you go back, like you said, to play to your strengths, play to the altitude, play to what will work here at a mile high. Like, that's what you got to do. It's the same thing.
Baseball without altitude. You put it on shirts.
Yeah.
Baseball with an altitude. Roll with it.
You won more at that point in time than you have in the last, 10 years now?
Yeah.
You were winning more when you just bash. And I realize there's a humidor everywhere. You're still at a mile high. You still have a huge outfield.
Mm-hmm.
If you give up runs, who cares? That's the one thing that I love, because you always were like, well, who cares? We have
Bichette, Galarraga, and Walker coming up to bat.
Even
I've hit 2 more now.
Even in the Rockies World Series visit, you're looking at Hop, Garrett Atkins, Troy Tulowitzki, Matt Holliday. You're looking at all of these guys who can just mash.
Yeah.
You're not afraid of having to get one run.
Even with my guy Kaz Matsui, to just get on base so other guys could fucking, do the thing. That was one of the only times in my life I ever watched some baseball. And it was fun to watch, because the team at my hometown was good. They were winning games, that's, yeah. It's
right.
Sad. Yeah, you got to take it. And there's a reason, too, that a lot of the NFL kicking records happen here in Denver, because the shit goes farther. I like this take advantage. I didn't know they had a barrier in the stadium to prevent scoring. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
the right field bullpen right next to the scoreboard.
Oh, well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Sorry we had to rush this a little bit. No victory formation. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Go ahead, Colin.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah,
Oh,
we will have victory formation next week because I'm an idiot and I thought we started at 4:30. So
and I have
I didn't get it done, but I'll save you all the pain of me sweeping. Maybe,
And,
possibly, I don't know.
Yeah, I apologize. I have my dad's birthday party tonight, so
don't apologize
go
for that.
eat some steak with my daddy. Love you. Happy
I love
birthday.
that, Colin.
Today is actually your birthday too, so happy birthday. I'll tell you again
Oh,
here
yeah.
in a little bit.
What's your dad's
Colin
name?
Zanker and Joe Goodwin. I'm Nick Archuleta. This has been Undrafted Uncensored. Next week we'll be back in your faces.
Yeah.
Bye.